Welcome back. This is still TV3 New Day, but 3 Entertainment is taking over at this point to have a conversation about something that impacts the lives of musicians and every stakeholder within the music industry here in Ghana, Musiga. After 4 unsuccessful attempts to run an election to elect executives, well, unfortunately, the 5th one didn't prove any success as well, because on August 8, 2023, everyone expected that finally elections will be held so that the executives will now take position and fix what is left of Musiga to the benefit of musicians. For some reason, an interlocutory injunction was placed on that election, and so it couldn't happen. The last time we had an elected Musiga president, well, his tenure ended in 2019. So that election, in fact, the last time an election held with Musiga was in 2014. That's how bad the situation is. And yes, we do have, Mr. Bessa Simons, who's acting as Musiga president until someone is elected. But until then, the question is, what happens to our music industry and the body that's supposed to ensure that musicians and their welfare are taken care of? Let's take a look at the letter that was released by Musiga concerning these elections and, how an injunction was placed on it, which is why they had to postpone the election. So this was released on August 7, and pardon us if you cannot see too clearly, but this was released on August 7, 2023, and it said Musiga Election 2023 postponements. The Elections Committee regrets to announce the postponement of the upcoming national and regional elections of the Musicians Union of Ghana, slated for Tuesday, 8th August 2023, to the entire membership of the union. This is based on information from the Electoral Commission of Ghana that they have received a copy of an injunction on the elections, and as a result, they cannot supervise the elections, and they have also sent same directives to their regional Electoral Commission directors. A new date will be communicated. We apologize for any inconvenience this development has caused to our esteemed members, aspirants in the union, in a free and fair manner, signed by Mr. Peter Marfo, the chairman of the National Election Committee. Now, let's take a look at the court documents so we can get details as to who exactly filed, this injunction or filed for the injunction. Also not too clear, but if we can zoom in for everyone to see. Now, 2 people decided to go ahead to file this motion, and they cited some discrepancies, which is why they didn't think that August 8th was a good time for the elections to take place. So the plaintiffs include Do Kwabna, Seyinam Nyamadi, and Fred Van Dyke. In fact, they are both members of Musiga, and they are praying for the court to order the restraint, which is what the court granted. What were their concerns? Now, they're saying, if we can scroll up, and of course, when we look at the defendants, so the first defendant is the Musicians Union of Ghana, Accra, Musiga, and then second defendant is Baiso Sekufo. We all know him as Obuo, and he served as president. His tenure ended in 2019. He's also been cited here, and then the Electoral Commission is the third. And we're looking at what the concerns were with regards to why they went ahead to file for this. So they're saying that the second defendant and his executives have failed to render accounts of affairs of the union for some years now. This failure is in violation of the Musiga Constitution, which requires the executives to render and file accounts annually. And they are saying that the executives cannot proceed to hold the elections when it has not rendered accounts. And so this morning, we're joined by Ahuma Bosco Okanse. We all know him as Daddy Bosco, and he's the head of communications and special projects at Musiga. Good morning, sir.
Fine morning.
Thank you so much for joining us.
It's a pleasure.
We also have the spokesperson for the 2 plaintiffs, Samson D. Mensah, a.k.a. Awo Mama. He's a journalist and also a spokesperson for the petitioners against Musiga. Now, let me go to Daddy Bosco. And okay, there he is. Hello, good morning to you. Samson.
Good morning, Belamundi. Can you hear me?
Yes, I can hear you loud and clear. I hope you're doing well.
I'm doing great too, Belamundi.
Well, let me start from you, because there have been concerns that, of course, if you look at the court documents, it says that per the Constitution, there was, the executive failed to render accounts to affairs. But many have questioned which parts of the Constitution exactly informed your decision or your plaintiff's decision to go ahead and file this motion.
Thank you very much, Belamundi. And let me greet your cherished viewers who are listening to TV3 this morning. And we thank you for the opportunity that you are giving to us. Bella, the petitioners quoted the Constitution where it's needed for them to do. if you look at the Musiga Constitution, it provides a section where it talks about the arbitration and disciplinary committee. So before the members will go to court or maybe to seek for their right, they have to pass through the arbitration and disciplinary committee. If you look at the Constitution very well, that is Article 7. That is Article 17.4. And I want to read the article so that it will help the discussion very well. And if you are in a union, and when it comes to rendering account to the people, it does not happen. How do you want the members to feel? It's very bad. If you read the Constitution, I'm quoting from, that is Article 9. Let's go to Article 9 of the Mission Union of Ghana Constitution, where it states clearly that the president has to render accounts to the people in every 4 years. And I quote, it says, Article 9.7, 9.1.7, the SHA is mandatory. The SHA is mandatory, shall submit to Congress every 4 years a report on the state of the unions, including a financial audit report of the affairs of the union within the same period. Is that there being any accountability? Where is the president who need to render account to the people? Where is he? And if you go to Article 17.4, it says that the NEC will appoint an auditor's firm for them to come and audit Musiga financial books. Then thereafter, the auditors will bring back the document to the NEC for the NEC to approve the financial report. Then the NEC will send it to Congress. Has this been done? When was the last time Musiga rendered account? Bella, you're a senior journalist. You have done this job for years. Have you seen Musiga rendering account to anybody or the media? Have you seen any Musiga financial report before? These are legitimate issues that the petitioners has raised. And do you know something? First of all, before the petitioners were going to court, they wrote to the arbitration disciplinary committee. I myself and one of the petitioners, that is Doe, who went to Musiga office where he was going for his membership card. And then he told Cheesy, we went there, we met the organizer, that is Cheesy, and we met I think the general manager, that is a certain lady, Emma. And my petitioner told that he has a letter for the union. What the organizer told us is that Mr. Simons has told them that they shouldn't receive any letter because they are proceeding to have an election. The question is, if your children are in the house and they are feeling hungry, and you are my father, and we are in the house, we don't have nothing to eat, and you go and buy car, buy food, and you are roaming in town, is it fair?
Now you're saying that
is it fair?
That's what they told you, or your plaintiffs. Did your plaintiffs go ahead to even contact Mr. Bessa Simons directly to find out if indeed it was true that he had made that directive?
So far as the organizer is in the office, we asked about where is Bessa. So far as the person is working in there as organizer, and he has told us that the acting president has told them that they shouldn't receive any letter from us. Deliberately, it's something that they have planned already. You understand? So we initially sent a letter to the arbitration and disciplinary committee woman. She received the letter and she told us that yes, we should send the soft copies to Bosco, send a copy to Bessa Simons, and send some to the elections committee. And even the arbitration committee woman was the very person who was giving one of the petitions, that is Doe, the numbers that you should contact all the people and send it to them. That is soft copy of the petition that they wrote to the arbitration disciplinary committee. As we speak, Bella, do you know that the arbitration committee chairperson has stepped down?
Why? Why?
I've given the document to your producer. If you put it on the screen and you read it to the people for them to read it, I'll be very happy. The woman is complaining bitterly about how people are pushing her to the wall to do something to benefit their own interest. And she can't do that.
Which is why she stepped down?
Exactly.
Did she mention who exactly was making her work difficult?
That is what is in the report. That is what she brought out when she was resigning from her post. And do you know the problem? If the arbitration disciplinary committee woman has resigned from her post, what do the Musiga have to do? As we speak, the general secretary, we don't know where she is. If you read the constitution very clearly, the general secretary is responsible to play a significant role for the union. But now the president is no more. The general secretary is nowhere to be found. So
Okay.
who is playing the active role as the general secretary in the union?
Okay.
Bosco. I can't say Bosco. It's Director for Communications and Special Projects. Now, Bosco works under the general secretary because the general secretary is the main administrator for the union. The question is, what role is Bosco playing over there? What are the special projects is he handling over there?
Well, he's here, so he will answer it. Okay.
Exactly. 2, Kwamina Boss tenure of office expired. He didn't resign. Their tenure of office expired. So if Obo's tenure of office expired, all the National Executive Committee and the National Executive Council, all of them need to leave the office there.
They all need to leave.
Exactly, because the tenure of office has expired. The president, the first vice president, the second vice, the general secretary, the treasurer, and the National Executive Council.
But the first vice is Mr. Bessa Simons, and he's the one that's been put in the acting position.
That is the gross violation of the Constitution. Because we voted for you the same day, the same time, the same year that Obo came to office. So if the president is gone, what are you waiting for over there to do?
Okay. Let me let Daddy Bosco come in. And by the way,
Okay.
Caleb Neboy has also joined us. Caleb Neboy is in charge of entertainment, basically conversations on 3FM as well. And tomorrow, I'm sure you dig into this, maybe a lot more and see. But good to have you.
Thank you, Bella.
Join us this morning. But Daddy Bosco, so first of all, I mean, so many allegations have been leveled against, you know, your boss, the acting president, and all that. He's saying that his plaintiffs brought a letter detailing their concerns ahead of the elections, and there was a directive allegedly from the acting president not to receive any letter. Is that true?
So thank you for this opportunity. You realize I was laughing because actually I respect TV3, and that's why I came for this conversation.
Thank you very much.
Because for me, I think the issues have been taken to court, and court will determine. Now, having said that, the last time we were in court, the court ruled that we go have our elections. Some of the claims my friend Awuma is making were all dealt with in the court. I think one of the last cases brought by one of the guys was that Reverend Yorson, who's the vice president, and Mr. Simons, who's the acting president, are preventing the election from happening. And that's a fallacy. Because the election, first, when Obo stepped down because he wanted to move forward with his life, everybody knows that at that time he wanted to enter the primaries of the MPP. And Musiga's constitution says you cannot do active politics as a president. So he stepped down. He actually resigned before the end of the tenure and handed over the administration to his colleagues, led by the acting vice president at that time. Everything was poised for the elections, I think, mid, October. And then we had a court summons, and we went to court. And that ruling said, go ahead and have your elections. Subsequently, we had, I think, 2 more court cases.
Yeah.
All these matters that Mama has been mentioning were all covered in those writs. Now, their bone of contention is that Obo left office without rendering accounts. In 2018, which was his last conference in Cape Coast, we presented the audited accounts. The next conference was to be in 2020, 2 years, because it's a biennial conference.
Okay.
2020, we were going to have the elections and then go for conference, and then accounts will be rendered. History tells us that it didn't happen. We've been in and out of court. Our constitution stipulates that accounts are rendered at the conference.
Okay.
Accounts are not rendered at random. All well-meaning members are entitled to go to the office and seek whatever information they require. It's unfortunate, but the spokesperson of the petitioners is not a musician, is not a member of the union. One of the petitioners is not a paid-up member of the union. With all due respect to the courts and everybody, this case is premised on malice and mischief.
How?
Oh, like I said, Obuo in his tenure at his last conference rendered his account. 2 years later, there was to be a conference where the next account was to be rendered. It didn't happen. So after going to court and back, and all is set for elections, for what you call it, this case to go to court, it's pretty unfortunate. It's a waste of everybody's time. It continues to portray Musiga in a certain light, which isn't the case. As we're speaking, and people say, what's the union doing? As we're speaking, we're running a Ghana Skills Development Fund project. We've done the first training in Accra. It's on leveraging digital tools to generate revenue. We've got 2 more training sessions in Kumasi and Tamale. Just last year, we did two capacity building programs with support from South Africa, Music in Africa Live. I'm just saying this to show that the union is moving in a certain light. And it's important everybody comes on board. We go have the elections. The members decide who will be their leaders. We have substantive leaders so that the union moves on. I'll tell you one last thing before you ask your question.
Okay.
When Nana Tufo died, delegation went to the presidency and everybody was introduced. And Nanado asked Mark, why is everybody acting? Then we went to the presidency again, second time. Hey, so you are still acting? And for some of us, it's pretty unfortunate. And I think this will be the last time we'll be in court, God willing, and we will.
I hope so, but did the acting president give a directive not to receive any letter at all?
No, please, I'm not aware of that.
You're not aware?
No, please.
So that's it's not true. That statement that the PRO is making?
He made the statement, and like I said, I'm not aware of it.
You're not aware of it. But you talk about all the things that Musiga is doing, and you listen to musicians, and they constantly complain that they don't think that Musiga is actually doing what it has to do to seek the welfare of musicians. I've heard Ohima Messi even say that even if you bring Jesus Christ to lead Musiga, the issues will never stop. There's an inherent problem, which is why even for elections, we've not been able to conduct that up until this point.
What I'll say is that there's unity in strength. And it's important that musicians work with their union to improve it. No human institution is perfect. It takes people to build. And one of the things that pains me is that people who should be interested in developing the union show a certain degree of apathy. And that's one of the challenges that we're hoping will be cured when we have substantive leadership here.
I see. Well, Caleb, let me bring you in because this then puts Musiga in bad light.
Yeah, it does.
Just like Daddy Bosco has said.
This
is the 5th time since Obuo completed his reign as president. This is the 5th time that an election has received an injunction.
You see, Bella, it is becoming one to me. And if you ask me, I think that what the matters are, we should treat it as our father here is saying. Is it true that Musiga hasn't rendered an account? So I was listening to him urgently, and he said that it didn't happen in 2020. Why didn't it happen in 2020? What stopped the union from rendering its account in 2020? Because he said Obuo did it in 2018.
Yeah.
So if it didn't happen in 2020, what were the reasons? Why did it happen? Because in the constitution, it states clearly that you are supposed to do this. You are supposed to have a finance committee. There's supposed to be an auditor that will be appointed by the executive council. So if you have all these things in place and you haven't rendered an account, it means that your own constitution, you are not going by it.
So let me jump in here. The constitution says you render the accounts at conference. You with me? And so like I indicated, you have your elections, elect your people, and you go to conference. So if you never had your elections and you were in court, which was everybody's focus, there was no way you could say you're going to have a conference and have elections.
And this was in what, 2020?
Yeah.
Yeah, but we're in 2023.
And
so once a date was set for elections, don't we think that, because you said it's biennial, so that means that between 2020 and 2023, we should have been able to at least render those accounts before going ahead to set a date, no?
Your constitution says you go to conference and render accounts. That's what it says. So you call conference and you render accounts there. You do not say because it's 2 years. Now, let me say this, and that's why I cited the fact that we're running projects.
Yeah.
Some of these projects demand, not some, all the projects you run demand you to provide accounts, audited accounts or statement of accounts. Once you're able to do that, and that's why I said that anybody who is well-meaning, member in good standing, you can go to the office, access the accounts. You see, the funny thing is that you ask yourself, do associations in the creative space render their accounts at random? No, it doesn't. Nobody does it. It is done based on the provisions of the constitutions. So you render your accounts, you go to what you call it, your conference, and that's where you render accounts. And having said that, I indicated that if you're a member and you're in good standing, you can go to the office and access the financial records.
Okay, Caleb, build your point.
Okay, so I'm actually worried. I'm worried because if I'm supposed
Hold on, Samson, hold on, I'll let you come in, please.
Okay.
So if you're supposed to go to conference and render these accounts, and you haven't done that, and it is because you are in court.
So you go to conference and you render your accounts. You can then, deduce whatever logical interpretation you want to put to it. But the fact is that your constitution indicates you go to conference and have your accounts.
So why haven't you been to conference?
Caleb, you build your point.
So all I'm trying to say is, it is factual that somebody hasn't rendered his or her account. Reason these guys are in court. So let's not make it look like the boys do not know what they are doing. But you see, on a more serious note, it is looking like Obo left the union some 5 years ago, and his name is still not getting out of the union because people feel Obo is supposed to do something he hasn't done. Now that 2 million Ghana cedi that Samuel's government gave Obo some time ago, it seems it's coming to haunt him, and it will do that for the rest of his life. Because there are some members, which I know, are still not happy with what the money was used for. Now, check. There was the Musiga Week Festival, Amwell. I know there was an incubator service that had young musicians like Kwame Eugene Kidi also come on board. Since Obo left office, that thing it's gone, it's done. We've not heard anything about it. So it means that the gentleman is no more there. Some people are now in charge, and whatever the guy did before he left, it is off. It's not working. So it goes back to say that, yes, Obo is no more in the office, but it seems one way or the other, some of the structures the guy put in place, it is still not being done well. And it's got to do with accounts too, because if Obo had rendered accounts properly, which he didn't do in 2020, because at the time he was going to contest for elections, so he had to leave office. But I have a feeling that the current officers there now, if Daddy Bosco is saying members can walk into the office and go and have access to the account, how do I access accounts you haven't rendered at conference? Exactly. So
then they had the plaintiff. Sorry, Daddy Bosco, please, if you don't mind. So, Caleb, you are saying that the plaintiffs are right.
They are right. Bella, they are right.
So let me say this. This is subjective reasoning. And that is why I said I respect TV3, and that's why I came here. And I indicated that the substance of the matter is in court and will be... You see, young man, what you're doing is contemptuous of court. A case is in court, it hasn't been heard, and you're saying somebody is right. For me, I think people have to be dispassionate. And I think a lot of young pundits have this thing about Musiga. And any opportunity they get, I think they believe Musiga is a meal ticket.
No.
They badmouth Musiga. Because now let me say this.
Is it the young pundits or it's the musicians who are members of Musiga? Because we've interviewed a lot of them. And they've never really had much to say.
Bella, I'm coming. That's why I said first, you're talking about welfare. In TV3, you have a welfare system. And I believe there is a modus to operating your welfare system. So young musicians or musicians are saying Musiga is not catering to their welfare. What is the contribution? Have they made any proposals? What I'm suggesting is that we take dispassionate look at issues. This reasoning we're having has to do with the case that is in court based on an account somebody said it's not been rendered. And I have indicated that the union has its way of rendering its
But you have
accounts.
confirmed to us that the account hasn't been rendered.
All right.
Caleb,
All right.
and
Let's be careful so that we're
Bella,
also not in contempt of court. Yes.
let me just quickly
Right
say
statement,
this.
Yeah.
I indicated that the last constitutional requirement to render accounts was 2018.
Yeah.
The next one was set for 2020. You do your elections and you go for your conference.
Yeah.
Now, within that period, no organization works without having its annual accounts.
Yeah.
It just doesn't add up for somebody to even assume that. And that's why I'm advising that, look, people shouldn't come to this conversation with preconceived notions and attempt to portray music in a bad light. For me, it's not cool.
Something, you wanted to come in and say something.
Yeah, Bella, thank you very much. You see, Bella, Daddy Bosco is a good friend. He's a learned person. He should stop what he's doing.
What is he doing?
The musicians are suffering. You see, you cannot come and sit on the television and tell us that you people have surrendered account. Oh, you should provide the account. Let's see on the television now.
But he said that as members, they should also be able to go to the office and ask for the documents.
Bella,
have your people asked for it?
Is this due the member of the union?
No, he's been appointed as the spokesperson for them. And we all do know that because of how the court operates, the plaintiffs cannot speak.
Bella, the Constitution is telling us that the president shall submit to Congress every 4 years. Every 4 years, we have to submit the financial report to the members in Congress. Is it conference? What are you talking about here? Now, let me tell you something, Bella. They say Musiga is the welfare seeking, it's a union that is seeking the welfare of musicians, right?
Yeah, yes.
As we speak, one of the treasurer, that is Alex Odu, who is an internal engineer for Musiga, and a worker at Musiga is dead. And they are on the platform. Bosco and Bessa and then Yossi, they are on the platform telling people to contribute, to go and give the treasurer a defeating burial. So if supposing that they have a certain money in account that the members pay as welfare and dues to the union, where is that money?
Do members pay? Are you aware of that?
They pay. Let me tell you something. Look at the 20 billion the government gave to Musiga. Apart from that, Citizen Coffee gave Musiga $100,000. A lot of money has come to the union. So can't we position some of the money to
you're saying what? Citizen Coffee?
Yes,
he's not here to defend himself. So we'll have to be careful of that. But you're saying that he gave the union how much?
Document. Bella, you know something? What everything that we are saying, we have a backing document.
Okay.
We will never sit on radio or sit on television to just make a certain pronouncement whereby we don't have any backing document. We know what we are doing. The petitioners know what they are doing. They have been a member of the union in good standing, and they know that people have not rendered account. The account need to render every 4 years. So if you tell me that you did it in conferences, where is the report?
Daddy Bosco says that one of the two plaintiffs is not a member in good standing.
It's a lie. Daddy Bosco is a liar. You know, let me tell you something. Bella, they are there seeking for their interest, not thinking about the members. Bosco, you were given an appointment by Kamrabo. So what are you defending there? So even you are not even in good standing to be there. The general secretary wants to be there and defend the union.
Okay. So please hold on, especially because you are also not a member of Musiga, I believe.
He was given an appointment.
Okay, hold on, but you are not a member of Musiga, so I think that we should be a little careful with some of. I do understand that tempers may flare, but let's try to control it. Please be guided. Please be guided. I mean, Daddy Bosco is here and he'll respond to some of these things, but I think that we shouldn't go on the personal tangent. Let's talk about Musiga. That's what we're here for. Please.
But we should be truthful to ourselves, Bella.
Daddy.
We should be truthful to ourselves. Yes.
Daddy, please, sorry. But if I may ask, you're saying that one of the members is not in good
Fred Van Dyke is not in good standing. Me and Fred, we go back. When I was playing SOZ, Fred was playing Kinti. Fred was contesting for the chairmanship. He said he didn't want to go.
Okay.
So Fred is on record. He's not a paid-up member. Tivai just paid up the other day. Now, let me say another thing. Me, I'm a musician. I play music. I'll tell you something, guys, I respect this show, otherwise I would have walked off this show. Because you know something?
Please remain silent.
As we're sitting here, the Ghana America Chamber of Commerce is organizing a seminar on intellectual property and how we can leverage it to build our careers and our economy, etc.
Yeah.
And we're here. And let me say this, sometimes Three people say me the entertainment shows no be muyao, because the question is, are we building an industry or we're running down an industry? And for me, some of these conversations are a waste of people's times, and I respect everybody, but sometimes let us be minded.
Daddy, we want to solve the issue, which is why we brought you. Because again, we also equally respect
the issue
you.
is in court.
I
for
understand.
crying out loud. That is where, because my young friend here, Caleb, and I know Caleb no be today. Caleb money.
Oh, yeah, go yoga.
But the point is, this matter is in court.
Okay.
And it's simple. It's for the judge to rule.
We will wait for the ruling. But Daddy, if I may ask you just a quick one as well. There's also a concern about who is eligible to run for executive office.
Yeah.
You know, and there have been concerns that we should open it up to all members, whether you have served in a key position for, you know, a term or not.
The union is a listening union. In the run-up to 2014, when we had Congress in Koforidua, there was a call that we should stop congregating people in one venue, and that was manipulative. What we should do is allow every paid-up member of a union to vote.
Yeah.
So we went to conference in Cape Coast in 2018. We said, okay, that's a requirement from the people, let's do that. If people are saying that to aspire to be president, you just need to be a member of a union, those could be some of the amendments that can be proposed at conference. And if they are accepted, cool, why not?
So definitely something that can be amended.
Of course. Like I said, in the past, we would select 10 delegates from every region, congregate in one place. And people were saying it was manipulative because once people are in one place, you could manipulate, etc., etc., etc. And then we said, now we're decentralizing the voting. Wherever you are and you're a paid-up member, in your regional capital, you can vote. So if people are saying that to be president, as long as you're a member of a union, and you're in good standing, and you think you can contest. Basically, it's a contest of ideas. Why not?
Caleb,
Bella,
we'll have to wrap up on this, but what would be your final words on this?
I would want to urge Musiga, those in charge now, because I'm reading its constitution, Article 18.6, that says each year the treasurer must submit the account of the previous year as well as the budget for the following year for approval to the National Executive Council, which
is done.
It's done.
You see, and that's why sometimes it's hurting when people who do not know how the union works talk. As we're speaking, the National Executive Council is so upset with all these developments. Caleb is sitting here and saying there should be this, and these things are done.
Okay.
You understand? So that's why sometimes I say journalists should get off their comfort zone and talk to some of the people so that they get balanced representation and share the information.
That's why you are here, so that's why we're getting that balance.
But Caleb office, what basa?
Caleb, I call your office. Go and get all the details. TV and on radio as well. But I'm looking forward to a solution coming out of this. But Daddy, as you're here, I just want to find out from you, because again, musicians have complained so many times about how they feel the union is not fully representing them. And I'm sure these complaints have come to your knowledge.
Yeah.
I mean, you're aware of that.
Yeah.
What are we doing to fix that reputation that Musiga seems to have out there, that it's not necessarily a body that's looking out for the musicians?
So, at the start of July, we had a 3-day seminar with the International Federation of Musicians. We brought all the National Executive Council members together. And that was one of the big things that we agreed we needed to do post-elections. We needed to look at rebranding and repositioning the union so that at least people will get to understand better and will appreciate that it's like we all contribute to the pie.
Okay.
Yeah.
All right. Well, Samson, final words before we go. We'll have to wrap up on this conversation. But of course, this issue is in court. Moving forward with what Daddy Bosco has said that they are doing to ensure that musicians' welfare is taken care of. What do you say to that?
Bella, musicians' welfare has been popping up every day, every night, every day. It is never true. One, now, let me tell Bosco something that we don't have any neck over there. The attendant of office has a spy. Everybody needs to step down and let's go for Congress. Or else we need to get government to intervene so that we can get commission of inquiry to inquire Musiga. And let's see the truth from there. As we speak, do you know that, Bella, Musiga don't have an office? Just recently, the government gave us
They do have an office. Do they not? They do have an office.
If you go to Kumasi, as
Oh, you're talking about a whole building on its own for Musiga. Is that what?
But Bella, if you go to Kumasi, it's very sad to see musicians sitting under trees.
Oh no!
In Kumasi, okay, something. Something. We have to wrap up.
Let's leave it the
We have to wrap up. I mean, yes, but something is also talking about the welfare of musicians, which is probably why he's doing there. But we need to get evidence of some of these things. Before we put them out.
We will never sit here and talk like that.
We'll try and get that evidence then. We'll try and get that evidence so that we can balance the conversation.
I will send everything to you, Bella.
Please do.
So that we can have
something. Thank you very much. Thank you. Thank you so much. So Samson D. Mensah, a.k.a. Awomama, is a journalist. He's also a spokesperson for the petition against Musiga Elections, and also Ahoma Bosco Okanse, a.k.a. Daddy Bosco. We're thankful that you didn't walk off.
Thank you.
Well, he's the head of communications and special projects at Musiga. And we hope that when we call on you again, you will still show up. Can you give us your assurance on TV? So if we call and you don't come...
Because you and Caleb and the guys here, they are for come.
We're grateful. But we hope that this issue is resolved.
Oh, yeah, it will
moving
be.
forward.
It will be.
Caleb, Niboy, you have a show tomorrow.
Yes, please,
what time on radio?
On 3FM 92.7 at exactly 10 a.m. We're live on radio. We're talking showbiz.
Well, we have some, an interview with Ochiame Kwame where he shared some concerns about Musiga as well. And as we move along, over the weekend and next week, we will play those videos for you to see. But Ochiame Kwame and Annika, thank you so much